Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Volley Tribe podcast. Another guest episode today. I know I've not been here for a couple of weeks. I've been off traveling and coaching at some camps. So I thought I'd come back today with a really, really exciting guest episode for you all. My guest today is a member of the Brits group that's coaching abroad right now. It's kind of a small group, but there are a few Brits out there abroad. He's someone that has just worked incredibly hard in the last few years and really carved out a great niche for himself over in the US in the NCAA. My guest today is Will McDonald, technical coordinator of the Baylor Bears. Will, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be cool because you're going to have a very different perspective on volleyball, being coming from that NCAA, having that NCAA background. It is such a different world as someone who's coached a little bit out in the US. But talk us quickly through your volleyball journey, if that's all right. Where you started in London to where you are now.
Yeah, so I actually started at Ashcombe. I went to school there and started playing, started coaching there, started refereeing there. Actually, just loved the sport and wanted to be involved as much as I possibly could. Ended up coaching my sisters for a few years there and then moved on to Richmond. Started getting involved with some university teams, Oxford and UCL, and then finally spent 3 years working with the national team pathway for the England cadets on the beach as well as indoor. So yeah, about 10 years from when I started, we decided it was time to move abroad post lockdown. And my wife is from Georgia. She kind of wanted to be a little closer to home near her family, and so it was just an easy, no-brainer opportunity to get out there. I ended up getting involved at Georgia Tech for the first season that we were here in 2022, and yeah, next spring I got offered a job at Baylor, and the rest is kind of history from there.
It's an interesting journey. I think one that a lot of people can kind of take some inspiration from in a way, because you kind of took a bit of a risk and jumped in going over to the US, didn't you? It's not like you headed over there with a job already lined up, was it?
Correct. Yeah. It was giving up everything we'd known and then just kind of jumping in the deep end to trust that we'd be able to figure it out. And yeah, I think it's worked out pretty good so far. But yeah,
So let's talk about the environment at Baylor and potentially a little bit at Georgia Tech as well. Kind of what's it like to be in such a high performance environment every day?
it's great. It's super fun. I think the biggest thing is just the people that you get to do it with. Everyone just has the same drive, same passion, same I think desire to make it the best experience possible for everyone involved, for the fans, for the players, for the coaches, for our community, and it's really just fun to be all in all the time. It's busy, it's hard work. I think excellence doesn't come without sacrifice, and so there's a lot of long days, and we were just before there's talking about off seasons and stuff, like feel like it's just kind of 365 days of volleyball all the way around. Even on Christmas Day, my work phone's still getting notifications and stuff happening. So yeah, it's fun, it's great, it's pretty intense though, as you can imagine.
Oh, you're not the only one. I had a recruit message me on Christmas Day this year,
Yeah,
which is it's just a crazy moment. I think people who haven't been in that environment definitely underestimate the way it kind of takes over your life when you're involved in those high performance environments. I think because from an athlete point of view, like just maybe talk a little bit about how hard the athletes that you work with have to work to get to the level that they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, even just like when they finally arrive, I think the studies that they've done show that NCAA athletes are essentially working two jobs worth of hours a week, two full-time jobs. Uh, then that's the ones that make it to this level. Uh, the Even just financial sacrifice that the families have to make to kind of put them through many years of club practices, private lessons. It's not like they can just drive to the tournament. It's like a flight every time nearly, and so they're bringing usually multiple family members to that because otherwise they don't get to spend time together because it's every single weekend. It's insane what people go through just to be able to get an opportunity to play at the next level, whether it's D1 or if it's we got lots of levels at college here. But yeah, it takes a lot, and that's beyond the physical training and development that they have to go through to earn that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the ones that do make it, like you say, are the best of the best, and they have just this incredible work ethic. And if you don't match that as a coaching staff, if you don't better that really as a coaching staff, I think you get found out quite quickly. And if the athletes are willing to put in that much work, sure, you have to be in exactly the same kind of boat. Your head coach, Ryan Maguire, very respected individual, really good coach. What are some of the lessons that you've learned from him over the past couple of years that you've been there and working alongside him?
Yeah, I think Ryan is one of the best trainers of the sport that I've ever got to work with. He has been coaching at this level for 30 years, and so everything he does is just hyper efficient in terms of like the systems that he's got in place to kind of do stuff, the like kind of methods of actually teaching the skills and how he breaks things down to their kind of simplest forms, but also in a way that's just super digestible and easy to understand. And then really just how he prioritizes the relationships through all of that. Like I think one thing that we're pretty pleased with at Baylor is like we don't get people transferring out typically that aren't just like graduating and wanting a slightly different academic path for themselves. The relationships have always been really strong. Our team culture's super strong. We've had seasons with zero drama. Not that there's no like conflict and friction, but like just how that's resolved and moved forwards, I think is a big strength of his. And so, yeah, he's an amazing man. Love working with him. He's fun. He's goofy, but he also still has that commitment to excellence.
I mean, we're going to bounce around a little bit on this your experiences at Baylor, but you just mentioned about Ryan being fun and goofy, and I think one of the coolest things I've seen, and you knew I was going to touch on this at some point, is to see you out there playing the anthem before games on your guitar on the floor, ready before the matches. I think it's such a great indicator of the culture of that program that one, you're allowed to do it, and two, you feel like you can stand up there and do it. And kind of how has that shaped your experience, and basically how cool is it when you're standing out there in front of everyone doing it?
It's fun. I'll be honest, they asked me for probably about a year before I finally gave in to doing it. It's fun. It's not without its stress. Game day, and especially like right before the match starts, is just about as busy as I get going into a game. So, finally got to a point where I felt like, okay, well, I can do this if here's what I need to make it happen. And they were super supportive to do that. The girls loved it. They didn't know it was happening the first time, and so they were all super surprised by that. From there, I got asked to do some other sports, some basketball games, some baseball. And so it's just a fun thing that I get to do, and people, donors to our programs and just fans generally are like, oh, saw you playing the guitar that time. That was really cool. And so it creates a few more touch points for us, and it's great fun.
So you spoke a little bit there about your role and about how busy it can be on a game day. Um, Most coaches listening to this won't have had a huge amount of experience having a technical coordinator. So could you just quickly kind of run through what your role entails and what the day-to-day life looks like in your role?
Yeah, the big rocks of my role is the biggest one's probably performance analysis. So like understanding the game, understanding our performance, and finding solutions to problems that I'm seeing. We talk about like the difference between like being a news reporter and being a first responder, and so I want to come with solutions to what I see rather than just being like, "Hey Ryan, uh, Samantha's passing really bad," and he's like, "Cool, thanks. I know." Having some a deep understanding of our team and our performance over time to be able to actually say, "Hey, I think this player should sub in," or "Here's how we need to change our strategy." Um, the way I do it, for those that don't really know, we use a program called Volley Station, and so every contact of the game is coded and translated into statistics. So at its simplest level, it's which team are they on, what number are they, what skill is it, and what grade are we going to assign to that skill. From there, we kind of add more information and detail, like we're looking at how players pass on their left side versus their right side, low, high, in their midline. We're looking at uh, attackers and different shots that they're going to use, hit, tip, roll in different situations, in different areas of the court, on different set tempos, pass locations. Really just trying to understand the game comprehensively to find advantages and solve problems.
So super interesting, at least to me. I think there's two of us. There's two teams in the league that have their own technical coordinators now here in England, um, and I find it really useful. I thought what you said about being a first responder rather than a news reporter is such a good analogy because when I first was training up Ben, who's my technical coordinator, I tried not to let it show, but I'd wear my emotions on my face. But he'd just turn around and go, "So and so's hitting this efficiency," and I'm like, "Cool." I kind of knew that they were struggling just watching the game, and eventually we've been able to get to this point where, like you say, you can actually just give solutions from the bench and really have an impact on the team, on the way things are being coached. And I know for me, it frees me up to look more at the opposition than to look at us because I know that I've got someone I can trust watching what we're doing and watching how we're playing. Now, I know obviously you'll have information on both teams as part of that process as well. What are some of the dynamics of your relationship with Ryan, and how does it kind of work best when you're working really well, when you're both in that flow state, teams winning, they're spanking whoever they're playing, like how does that feel? How does that work best?
Yeah, I think fun is a big driver for us. It should feel fun. We One thing Ryan says is we don't want the pressure of competition to outshine the pleasure of it, and so if it's going right, it should feel easy, calm. We should be able to not necessarily like joke around too much, but like okay, like it's not so intense as it can be when we're all kind of just trying to problem solve different things at the same time. I think our relationship, there's a lot of like non-volleyball stuff that really pulls us together, like He has probably the biggest collection of swords that I've ever seen. His office is like a little miniature medieval armory, honestly. But we kind of bonded over Lord of the Rings and some of those like nerdier things, and he actually bought me a little sword for Christmas, which I was excited about. And so, yeah, I think having the range of interests uh, really just helps us be closer.
I think being able to find that common interest with people on your staff is a really, really great way to make them feel included, to make them feel like you care about them, or to show that you care about them. Because it's not a making you feel like he cares about you. If he's going out of his way to build that bond through those common interests, and as you've said, it makes you want to work incredibly hard for the success moving forward. Um, it feels like you are quite a big part of the cultural or the culture at Baylor now and you've kind of developed into that rather large part of it over the last couple of years. Talk to me about how even someone whose main job is the numbers, is the data, is performance analysis. Talk to me about how you also have an impact on the person side of things and how it makes your job easier.
Yeah, culture is really everything that we do. I mean, it's literally everything we do, but like, I think that really is just like the most important piece of our program. We, all of us, have the responsibility to make sure the culture is good, to make sure we're all on the same page and singing from the same sheet, if you like. I think a big piece of my role is like conventionally you'd be a little more removed from the athletes, a little more removed from practice, but I use that to kind of dig myself deeper into my relationships with the players. And so, I joke that I control their playing time, and if they don't like their stats, that they can just kind of buy me out, and $20 per pass, and I'll make it what you want it to be. But yeah, I think as an older brother, I miss my sisters a lot, and it's fun for me to be able to kind of joke around, have that kind of brotherly dynamic with these athletes who maybe experiencing being away from home for the first time, uh, big life changes, going through hard things together. And so yeah, it's nice to be able to just come in early to practice, talk with them as they're coming in. I'll do kind of individual meetings with them as well, usually every other week, just to kind of check in and see how they're doing just outside of the sport. All of those things kind of add up. It's like culture is just the accumulation of a lot of small actions that really just show that you care about the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. My coach and mentor, Alex Porter, talks all the time about TNTs, these tiny noticeable things. Yeah, smiling at someone when you see them for the first time in the day, building up, as you say, those small actions that kind of build the positive frame of mind around everyone. One of the things that I've loved in our conversations thus far is you spoke about it being fun. And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings of these performance environments of people that aren't in a performance environment is that they are super serious the whole time. Everyone's got to take everything really seriously. You've got to be really disciplined. You can't have fun. You can't enjoy it. You can't slack off and relax. And I think that it's actually the complete opposite. You want that environment to be as fun as possible, right?
Absolutely. We talk about being goofy and gritty at the same time, and so we recruit those type of athletes that are fun, but like still going to be disciplined, but like that just kind of takes care of itself. Like we're not policing, we're not like enforcing all these things. That should come from the players. Like, okay, like here's the standard, go meet it, but like you're not going to meet it every time. We're not going to win every drill. That's okay. We gotta focus and go for the next one. But like, if we're like the conflict without the resolution, that's what's gonna really tear us apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna tap into your expertise a little bit now, make this really, really useful to some of the coaches here in England that are listening in. So in our U18 competition, been reformatted since you were last over to a Grand Prix style competition. All of the top teams have access to huddle and huddle assist. Um, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. If you were a U18 coach over here using huddle potentially for the first time, what kind of areas of the statistical breakdowns or the video breakdowns would you prioritize if you were in their shoes?
I think you got to know the recipe for winning. Generally, it's going to be like 14 kills, couple of blocks, couple of aces, and then maybe like 4 to 6 opponent errors, depending on how good they are. So like, if your team is kind of in the like 7, 8, 9, 10 errors a set, like it's really, really, really hard to win if you're just scoring all the points, including the ones for the other team. So I think knowing that kind of recipe, that kind of highlights some areas for growth. If we're not getting those kind of 1 or 2 blocks a set, now, okay, well, we got to get better at blocking. Maybe our strategy is the issue. We got to change something. If we're really just not scoring points on our offense, that's the biggest flag and the biggest way to change. Like if we can just out hit our opponents in terms of efficiency, in terms of kill percent, then we can win 95% of sets. I think was the number I came up with. I think zooming out a little broader, looking by rotation, we want to be able to see our point scoring percent and our side out percent for each of those rotations. If when we're serving, we're winning every other point, so 50%, I think that's a good standard to be at to win. And then really we're looking for about 7 out of 10, 70% side out to basically not let gaps widen between us. We're trying to separate when we got the chance to serve, and then also like not allow them the chance to go on runs. So I think if we can get 3 runs of 3 serves in a set, that's going to put you in a position to win. So really trying to minimize the runs of 3 for the opponent. We have a fun rule on our team. If we serve 7 in a row and win the point, and we win the set and we win the match, then the team gets ice cream. And so we had ice cream quite a few times last season, which was really exciting. But then the girls are like competitive about it. They're like, "Hey, we got ice cream on this game. You owe us." It just kind of becomes another fun layer of banter between us. And so, but serving and passing are just as important as the offense. So you can look at individual pass ratings. I don't know how much it breaks it down for you guys, but like in system percent, how often can we? I don't know if it shows you like first ball side out percentages off of each receiver. That's kind of the detail that we're looking into for our passes.
So super interesting. Lots to kind of dive into. I think the bits at the beginning about how you win a set, I think is really, really important first step for coaches that want to take their in-game coaching to a higher level and their team's in-game performance to a higher level. I think you have to have those numbers somewhat scoped out, and they don't have to be exactly 14 kills, right? Like you can put in there, 12 to 16 kills, and I think 12 is probably a little bit low. You might struggle to win sets with 12 kills, but sort of maybe at junior level where there's higher levels of mistakes and errors compared to at the senior level. But I think going through and working that out and having at least that in mind and maybe tracking where your team gets to is quite an easy first step for people that, I'm not expecting junior coaches to come out and be able to code in Volley Station. That's an expensive piece of software to get available. But for those that want to learn, you can download the media version of Data Volley for free from the website. So there's potential there to kind of learn this next level of scouting and video work if you want to as well. Talk to me a little bit about the scouting process. How much are you involved in that process? Are you breaking down upcoming opponents statistically and on video for the coaches, and kind of how do you go about that?
Yeah, heavily involved. I think a lot of tech coordinators around the country, they're kind of scrambling between presenting data and building out video montages. I'm a big fan of using time well, especially when it's limited. And so I taught our other staff members how to use Volley Station so that they've got to watch the video anyway. So okay, well, just watch it and then you select what clips you want to show the team, rather than me having to read your mind on, I think he'd want to show this or she wants to show them about these things. So I kind of removed myself from the actual video scout. That's just our associate head coach, Josh, that deals with that. When I first came, Josh was building out his own scout packet, and it was a pretty long process for him. He's got 5 young kids, and so I want to help him actually be able to spend more time with them rather than getting up at 4 a.m. every day to, just to get the scout packet done in time. So I built out a template, and I pull all the match files, and we decide how many games we want to actually look at. It's usually between 3 and 5 of the last games, and then kind of compare that to the season as a whole for the team. But then build out this template that kind of hits everything that the players would want to know. There's a summary sheet for the ones that just want to have stuff at a glance on their starters. Then we kind of go into more detail on the roster as a whole, but then okay, here are their key hitters. Here are the 2 attacks that they do most often on first ball side out or in transition, and here are the charts on that. And so it's in detail, but it's simplified so that we're only really presenting the stuff that we feel like they need to be great at, and then just trust our training that they'll be good enough to deal with other situations that come up.
Yeah, there's an important point there, right? Athletes are not robots. You can't just give them loads and loads of information and expect them to go out and play a perfect game. I think one of the big lessons that I learned early on in my coaching career at this level is that it's just as bad to over prepare and overload the athletes with analysis as it is to give them nothing. If anything, actually giving them nothing is probably better, because then they can just go out and play. How do you find to strike that balance? Is that a case of trial and error a little bit? Do you kind of just get to know the athletes and kind of work from there? Do you give different amounts of information to different athletes depending on what they can handle?
Yeah, we give everyone the same thing. We met with the captains to kind of figure out what was important to them. What did they want to know? Felt like they had some ownership over how the scout went and how it was presented to them. I would say it can be as much as 12 pages, but each of those pages is super simple. So here's the serving page, breakdown of where they will serve. This is just if you want to see it. Where our expectation is know your counterparts. So if I'm a middle blocker, I need to know about their middles, but I'm not expected to go and who are their worst passers, especially if I'm not serving, because our middles don't always serve over here because the libero can serve. So yeah, simplify. We want to present just what's important for them. We leave it up to them. Some of them like to write physical notes alongside. Some of them just want to glance over it and pay more attention on the video. Um, Really, it's going to be individualized to what they want to do, and so yeah, just want to be able to accommodate their needs.
I think it's really clear that there's very little ego in this staff that you're working with right now. There's some confidence in your abilities, but there's also that ability to ask what the athletes need and not think that you know best all the time. How important is that to the way you guys work?
Yeah, really important because it's not about us at the end of the day. It's the best experience that we can create for them, and so yeah, like we want to have fun, we want to compete. Winning is fun. Um, you know, there's obviously a performance element that if we're not doing it, you got to win to keep your job at the end of the day. But I think we know and we're confident in how we're approaching training, the game, scouting, all aspects of our program. That I feel like if we're just doing things the right way, it'll generally take care of itself. And so I want the players to be able to play freely, be their best selves every day, feel like they're in the best shape of their lives, so that we can compete at the highest level. If we just really keep reflecting it all back to the athletes, then they're the ones that have to play. They're the ones that have to score the points at the end of the day. So yeah, so it's about them, not us.
It's a great moniker to live by. Now, I'd be a bit remiss if we talk about holistically coaching athletes for 45 minutes and I didn't talk a little bit holistically with you about life in the US. I've got a few quick fire questions for you. Um, Favorite away or favorite road venue that you've been to?
Um, Favorite, uh, probably it's the ones that feel the most hostile. They're fun. And so I'd probably have to say University of Texas, which is just about an hour and a half south of us. It's fun, it's loud, it's crazy. You know, that's the most fun kind of games for us. And so yeah, I enjoy going down there. We'll be back down there this September, I think.
Coolest person you've met whilst on the job?
Oof, coolest person I've met. Um, I get to meet a lot of cool people every day. A lot of like high level coaches that I was, like I remember the first time I met John Sparrow, and when I was in England, I was like, man, seeing him coaching men's national team overall, I was like, oh, awesome. But yeah, truly, every person that I get to meet is pretty exceptional, and so yeah, lots of high level coaches that I get to now. You know, if I have a question, I can text them, and that feels crazy. Uh, Lots of cool athletes. Some playing Olympic levels, which is I think really special to be able to be around them. Yeah, just it's hard to pick one person.
Favorite place that you've visited? It can be with work or not with work. Whilst you've been out in the US.
Okay, easy one. Zion National Park out in Utah. It is outstanding. I think England's pretty beautiful. I love how the history and landscape kind of intertwine, but uh, you don't have the same history of the country here, but the nature is where you kind of get that feeling. And so Zion feels like Jurassic Park. It's like another world. It's really really a special place.
It's high up on my list of places to visit, for sure. And you talking about it there just makes me even more jealous and wanting to head on out. Um, Talk to me about the travel side of things because I want to blow some minds now. Talking about traveling to games, kind of for you guys in the Big 12, it's not there's not a massive. You're not traveling from California to Michigan like the guys in the Big 10 are, but there's still some healthy travel for you guys to do, right? How often are you jumping on a plane to travel to games?
Yeah, I mean, really every other week. Sometimes it's a little more. Uh, 2023 season was a heavy road season. We played probably like two thirds of our games on the roads. 2024 was kind of the opposite, and so starting in August, we didn't actually leave the state of Texas until October. Uh, so that was pretty crazy to flip from one to the other. This year will be a little more balanced. Roughly every other week, we're on the road somewhere. Usually, it's like a 2-hour flight. We're either gonna go up to Dallas and fly commercially to wherever we're going, or for some of the more complex ones, where it's a bigger drive to the airport on the other end, we will charter a flight for ourselves and go from our local regional airport to just whichever airport's closest there. And so some teams get to do that every single time. We are a little more budget conscious on how we're spending our cash, and so like we went last time we did one was Thanksgiving. It was a hard time to travel over here, and so we were at Cincinnati and then West Virginia, which is kind of a complicated trip anyway, logistically. And so we chartered all three of those flights and got back in time for some family time.
Final question about Baylor. What's the coolest tradition in Baylor athletics?
Mm. There's a lot of really cool ones. Like I said, I think Baylor does a great job of managing the students' experience and creating just special moments for them. I think, man, I'm trying to think like on football game days, they have something called the Baylor line, which is all of the freshmen are able to run the field prior to the start of the game. It's fun. There's always a lot of less athletic people that end up taking tumbles and stuff, which is a little amusing, but it's just a fun kind of coming together with everything. The kind of saying for the college is "sick 'em bears," and so we have like hand gestures and stuff that we do, and so everyone kind of doing that in unison at the end of the game is pretty fun. It gets pretty hype. Yeah, just they have songs that they sing and stuff like that, which I don't super care for, but it's fun. It's community building. Yeah.
Okay, and then final question for today. What's the thing about the future of volleyball that's most exciting for you right now?
Um, I think the this is nerdy, but just how fast the technology is evolving and how much we're able to uh, firstly understand the game, but also improve the experience of the game for fans. It's probably the fastest growing sport right now, at least in America, and so we're really trying to keep up with that and make sure that as we're attracting new fans, that it's a really I think premium experience for them. And so like as challenge systems become quicker, better, we're able to find you know the game's able to be played with less interruptions. Those kind of things are exciting me right now. It's already super athletic. I think that's only going to keep growing across all levels, and so yeah, it's fun to be able to see just the physicality of some of these young players and what they're able to bring and make it exciting from that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think the technological advances that have been made at the top level, the challenge system, the Hawkeye in and out calls that they've been able to make, alongside just the viewing experience and all the different advanced stats that they're able to kind of get now. We've got potentially got Volley Station AI coming relatively soon, which is going to be really really cool when it launches. I think the possibilities for understanding the sport are growing massively year on year, and like you say, it's becoming a better game to watch. They're getting rid of what I call some of the bullshit rules that are out there, and I think the game's only getting better for it.
Yeah, it's a little slow at times in the collegiate environment for things to change. And so if you look at some of the pro teams that are starting up over here and how they've been quick to adapt some of the new rules. We're now, last season, they got rid of the double touch for us, which is great. I think that lowers my blood pressure during the match for sure. Um, but yeah, I think as the game keeps growing, we got to keep growing with it. And so, yeah, the ones that are slow to evolve will die out. And so we want to stay on top.
Well, that is just about all we have time for in this episode. Will, thank you very much for coming on. You've been amazing. Really, really good insights into kind of how we can use the technological side of the game, but also not forget that your technical coordinators are part of your coaching staff. They can contribute to the culture and to the processes as well as anyone. Please make sure if you're still listening, that you drop us a subscription on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts to get every single episode of this show into your feed every single week. I massively appreciate the support on this the last few months. It's been a really, really cool start to see, and having people come up and chat and ask comments and ask questions about what we've had on the show and the guests we've had on the show in the past has been really, really great to see. Please, everyone, stay safe and well, and we will catch up again very, very soon.